Have you ever wondered how you can heal from the difficult relationships in your life? But when it comes to the inner healing process, what you're going to be exploring are the relationships that formed oftentimes early in your life and were not as part of your conscious control. The relationships in our early years very often are also tainted by unconscious programs that we begin to inherit based on our personal upbringing, based on how our parents perceived us and what we were told and taught about ourselves. The inner child in you had no way of understanding whether or not those perceptions were real, but you fully internalized them. And so the person who you are today was largely motivated and influenced by the people in your life that told you who you were supposed to be back when you were still growing up, back when you didn't have a total grip on your identity and your ego was in the stage of formation. When we find ourselves in a difficult situation where we can't perceive ourselves more highly as we're trying to heal or we're trying to evolve, the root cause of that is very often nested in those early childhood years, because the early relationships in our lives ended up creating mainly the person who we are today. You may start to recognize that maybe your significant partners in your life, your romantic relationships, or your friends have some common denominators that are also similar to maybe how your parents treated you, your mother or your father. Or maybe you start to see how your mother or father were actually impacting the way that you feel about yourself and is pertinent to the masculine and feminine energy streams within you. And so this brings us to the important point of what these lessons really are. Why do these people need to be in our lives? Why did we maybe choose, from a higher dimensional standpoint, the kind of relationships that sculpted us and even created our trauma in our early years of life? Now let's think really big about this idea. So if you now feel that your perception of yourself was influenced by people who did not perceive you highly, consider how you can start to sculpt a whole new reality within yourself. You start to see that you needed those important players in your game in order to teach you the deeper lesson of self-awareness, to help you understand that you are actually not your environment. You are not the people that went into your conditioning model, that your mind is biased to perceive everybody's opinions about you as true, but that is not always the case. The way that you now perceive your connection to loved ones and to people who inspired your perception of yourself is often attached in nature, where you feel that you cannot break free from the mold of all of their historic conditioning. The way that they started to make you think of yourself, the way that you started to adapt to the world was often due to how they made you think you needed to survive with their own conditioning biases. I want you to imagine the zoomed out perspective on your entire existence. Imagine that your higher self actively created and sculpted this entire journey for you. That before you were born, you chose your parents. You chose everything in your life down to your own birthday. You decided to side with the friends and family that created your experience in your early years of life. That what you did not consciously choose, due to your conscious mind's perception of your choice in this lifetime, was actually something that maybe your oversoul chose. Your higher self chose to give you this important learning experience. Looking at it from that lens allows you to see how maybe all of this was highly significant for your evolution. And learning to see it through that lens of perspective will allow you to see the beauty in every experience, as it is ultimately teaching you to love yourself more deeply while finding more love for the entire journey of life.